welcome to In Touch with Durham County. I'm Deborah Craig-Ray, General Manager of Strategic Planning and Innovation. Did you know Durham County manages the Memorial Stadium? We've invited Zach Pritchard to tell us about the operations and upcoming events this season. We take great pride in delivering services to our veterans across Durham County, and thank you for your service. Veteran Services Officer Linzie Atkins joins us to share important information and to discuss an upcoming event. Welcome, Zach.
Thanks, Deborah.
Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, appreciate your time.
Yes, I know you haven't been with us that long. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I've started off here about a year and a half or so ago now. Most recently was up in Capital One Arena up in Washington, D.C. So I was working with the Washington Wizards and Capitals and Mystics and that crew up there. Mm-hmm. You know, kind of joke around with my friends. The Caps won the Stanley Cup, and so being part of that team and being part of that experience on the event side, that kind of led to my change of transition and looking for new opportunities and brought me down here to one that was a much better fit from a just overall scheduling point and a lot less hours and a lot more opportunity to be connecting back to the community.
Super. Well, we're delighted to have you. Now, tell people exactly what you do as managing our stadium.
So I kind of am responsible for a little bit of everything out there.
Okay.
Everything from booking to marketing, security, event management. So really kind of everything. Right now, it's a lot of construction. We're in the middle of a series of off-season projects, and it's really become construction management.
Yeah. So how old is the stadium,
So the stadium's
where is it?
Yeah, it's about 60 years old, located up off of Duke Street and Stadium Drive up on the north side of town. And, we're starting to see some new updates to it. Recently in 2010, we went through and added the press box and additional facilities that time. And now we're starting to see some of those items needing to get repaired and replaced. And so first up was the track last year. Mm-hmm. We came back through, we put a elite level track in. And basically it was a resurface of the existing surface that we had. But we ended up just kind of taking it to the next step and brought in one of the elite track manufacturers, and they did a great series of work for us. So that was the big one. Also connected to that, and it was all in part due to the USATF Youth National Championship event that we had out there. Mm-hmm. We had to build a new hammer cage. So it's a 30-foot tall structure of aluminum up top. So to make sure that we had a safe facility for folks to participate in that. So it was a long process to get going. It was about 3 months of renovation time and updates, but we were ready. The day that track meet happened, we were ready to go. So
wonderful. Now, how many seats are there at the stadium?
It's 8,500 seats.
Okay.
So it's a general admission. So there's numbers sitting on there, but it's really more the come first, come all type thing. So.
Yeah. So I think you touched on a couple of things, but can you just highlight some of the events, sort of the major events we've had over the last year?
Yeah. So the backbone for us is Northern High School. They run all their football games out there with us. They had a pretty decent year this year. They actually went to the playoffs. They hosted a playoff game with us as well. Tobacco Road FC is another one of our clients who are been out there for about 4 years now. They're a semi-pro soccer team, part of USL 2, so one of the developmental leagues going through their ranks. They run about 7 or 8 games a year with us, and then it's a lot of just different rental events as needed. So it's the USATF, both the state association ran their regional meet with us last year, as well as the national youth level national championships. The Durham Striders Club has an annual meet that they do out there in July, the Russell Blunt meet. Mm-hmm. So, it's a lot of stuff like that, but then it's also other community events that pop up as well. So.
Yeah. So what's the most unusual event you can recall that we've hosted there?
A lot of them right now, we are pretty standard. It's a pretty standard set of events that we run out there. It's a lot of, your traditional soccer games, track meets. One of the unique events that we brought in and we started working with last year was the Ultimate Frisbee. So there is it's the AUDL, it's the Professional Ultimate Frisbee League, basically. Yeah. So we started working with them a little bit last year, and they're looking forward to continuing, having some more events out here with us this year. So it should be a good opportunity for us.
Yeah, that is unusual. Now, I know there's some other plans to make some more upgrades in the stadium.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of those for us?
Yeah, so a lot of stuff we're doing right now is infrastructure based. A lot of the masonry for the walls are starting to show its age for a 60-year-old building. So one of the projects we're currently working on is that the stadium wall that's right at the foot of the home side bleachers is actually getting completely replaced, removing all that cinder block, building brand new right back up. Also, you're gonna see some new walkways into the seating section because they're all kind of connected.
Yeah.
Last year, we actually added a storage room on the visitor side, which we didn't have previously. And it's all kind of connected to this similar project, what we're doing now to help improve the infrastructure of the building.
Yeah. So how much time is that expected to take? I
So
know these projects
it normally
always
takes
run.
about, it's scheduled to like, we've started this one in mid-January, and so it's expected to run through April.
Okay.
So we're talking about 3 months, and last year's projects took about 3 months as well. So we try to line it up where it's a little bit slower, but we don't want to have a whole lot of stuff going on, so we don't want to have people tripping over what was going on out there.
Yeah. So I guess a lot of our folks may not know, but we have something called a Stadium Authority.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the Stadium Authority, who's on it, and what their role is.
Yeah, so we have it's a board committee of about 7 community members, and they really help dictate the policy and kind of the long-term outlook of the stadium. Pam Carricker, who's our chair, she's been involved in a number of different areas inside of Durham County, and this was kind of her next step and next transition there to start spearheading some stuff with us at the stadium. And really it's a lot of helping. Their role right now is taking a lot of my recommendations and then moving it forward and trying to find ways that we can move those policies forward.
Yeah. Now, if somebody's interested in becoming a member of the stadium, do they have to have like maybe a sports background?
It's recommended, but not preferred. It's not necessary. I mean, Pam's background is really more music based. But a lot of we've got a baseball guy, we got a football guy, we got a track guy. So we've got a series of sports folks, because a lot of that, when you're thinking about a sport facility, that's the people who it's going to impact the most.
Right.
But the nice thing is, and I think one of the directions that we want to go with is we want to show that the stadium can be really multifaceted. That it's not just you're going there for a football game or a soccer game or track meet, that we could do a concert, a barbecue festival, something like that has a little bit of a different spin on it. You see a lot of different venues really try to maximize their use and their event days, and ultimately helps lead to more revenues and recognizability and stuff of the venue. And so finding different ways to get more people engaged, more people participating in the stadium, and that includes trying to find other things that aren't just your traditional sport events. Right. So that's why I think having people with some additional outside really interests really help it.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's a fee schedule involved. You have to set the pricing. Yep. So is that something that the Stadium Authority works with?
Yep. The Stadium Authority we constantly look at the market. We constantly compare to other venues around, other venues that are out for similar events that we try to bid for and participate in, to try to make sure that, one, we're making the right amount of money on an event, but two, that our operators still have a chance to succeed. And by taking all those those factors into account, that really helps us present a really solid fee base, one that we've actually structured where we kind of incentivize our local community more so than our the outside communities, so that we know that some of those taxpayers that are putting that money back into the stadium have a chance to be a little more accessible and have a better chance to be, participate more at the stadium.
Yeah. And so I would also imagine you probably have opportunities for vendors.
Yes, certainly. One of the things that we just recently added was actually last year we went to a contractor for concessions. So that actually has been very, very beneficial to us as a stadium, and really, when it comes back to the budget line and stuff like that, we're starting to see a very good return on that. But ultimately, vending, we're looking for folks to help, enhance events. Things like, if there's T-shirt vendors that want to connect with event operators, that's something that we're able to help facilitate, because we want to make sure that, we have an opportunity to see other events be successful as well, because that's going to help bring them back in the future.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, a lot of people probably just think of the stadium as the place that Northern High School plays football.
Yep.
But, you certainly have talked about the fact that it's much, much more than that.
Yeah, and that's, Northern really is one of the backbones. I mean, the history of the stadium was built for the schools.
Yeah.
But then as you sit back and the dynamic of the event world kind of continues to evolve and change, you can't just have that stadium sitting there for just that 4 months out of the year. So being able to participate in other, bring other groups out that touch that event, that field and that stadium makes it, much more of a use for everybody, not just.
So do you have anything big coming up in 2020?
2020, we're in the middle of some transition. We're trying to reassess, we've had some events that have kind of decided to change their venue. But, as we look ahead, we've got a series of track meets coming up. That new track's not going to stay resting for long. We're starting off in end of April with the Tri-Tac conference. They're going to run some meets out there leading into the summer with our traditional, Russell Blunt meet kind of being the tail end of it. So.
Excellent, excellent. So what are the ways that the residents can get more information about the stadium?
I think the easiest way is to hop on Twitter or Facebook. We have, at DCO Stadium, DCO Stadium. Those are the two, Facebook, Twitter, or going to the county website and finding it through the bandwidth there.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we want to thank you so much for what you do for our community and managing the stadium and keeping an eye out for new things and new ways that we can enhance the revenue there. And we appreciate you making a change of location and coming to Durham County with your wonderful wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Is there a way people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way is to, like I said, go out to the website. All of our contact information for the stadium is all out there. That's the same spot where we'll have your booking information, anything like that. We are actually going to start rolling out a new booking software in the coming months. So that's something to be on the lookout for. But it'll all be directed off of our website. So.
Well, Zach, I've enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We'll have to get you back on again.
Sounds good.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll speak with our Veteran Services Officer, Linzie Atkins. Stay with us.
How do I take the 2020 census? In March 2020, every address in the country will receive an invitation to complete a simple questionnaire. And there are 3 ways to respond. Number 1, do it online. Number 2, call by phone. Number 3, send it by mail. For those who don't respond, a census taker from your community will follow up and assist you. Shape your future. Start here. Visit 2020census.gov.
Welcome back. I'm delighted to welcome our Veteran Services Officer, Linzie Atkins, to join us today. Welcome, Linzie. Glad to have you on the show.
I'm so glad to be here.
Yes. So please help our viewers understand your key role as our Veteran Services Officer.
Okay. And again, thank you, Deborah, so much for having me here today. I just really want to give a quick shout out to you and your team. You're so wonderful, Don and Randy, in helping to support what we do here in Durham County. We are a small team. Director Lois Harvin-Raven, she's been doing veteran service work for over 20 years. I have a colleague, Jonathan Crooms, in our office, and an admin person, Letitia Brandon. We are here to help our almost 15,000 veterans in Durham County access services within the VA, within the county, wherever those services are that could benefit veterans. That's why we exist, to help our veterans.
Excellent, excellent. Now, help our viewers understand if you've got any upcoming projects or programs they need to know about right now.
Yes. One of the things, when I mentioned that we have about 15,000 veterans in Durham, Durham veterans spend over $200 million in this local economy. And of that 15,000, about only 4,000 veterans are actually receiving direct benefits to the tune of getting about $70 million.
Okay.
So that's a lot of veterans out there that are not receiving benefits. And that's not including the spouses or the widows of veterans, widowers, and children. So one of the things that we're trying to do is to reach out to our veterans and doing some outreach activity. We have on March 13th at 10 a.m., we have a claims clinic just for Durham County veterans to come in to be able to get some one-on-one attention with filing for benefits. We are also happy to have gotten approved through the Board of County Commissioners the first Veteran Service Officers on Wheel. Wills, and we want to thank the public health. They have a new director there, Mr. Jenkins there, and our general manager, Joanne Pierce, and great county manager, Wendell Davis, for being a great support staff for us to be able to go out into Durham County to touch those veterans that are not able to come in. Veterans are aging. We have still maybe a few World War II, some Korean War veterans. We want to be able to go to them in the community and set up shop and see how we can assist them with access and services.
That's outstanding.
Yes.
I mean, you know, we're about innovation at Durham County Government, and certainly I'm sure there are not a whole lot of counties out there that have a Veteran Services Office on wheels so they can go and visit.
Yes, I think we're the first. No one in North Carolina, that's for sure.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, I think you sort of mentioned a number of veterans, and how can you be sure of the number? How do you actually count the number in Durham? In Durham.
Well, that's done through the federal government, and as you could imagine, the government keeps track of us, and they know about every man and woman who've gone into the military. So that data comes out from the Veterans Administration, and it's across the nation, and we can drill down from the state and looking at all 100 counties to see what the number of veterans are. And they also look at the benefits those veterans receive, there are two main benefits: compensation for veterans who were injured or suffering from some type of condition related to the military service. And they have something they call non-service connected pension. This is for wartime veterans who are income restricted. Their income is not high enough and they are in need of some type of supplemental income, and the VA could assist them. And so they keep track of that.
Excellent, excellent. Now, what about benefits for spouses and families? I would imagine you all manage that as well. Yes,
and we wish there were more that we could do for those spouses and families. It's while the veteran is alive, the benefits are funneled directly through the veteran in terms of spousal benefits, in terms of CHAMP VA health care and those things. Once that veteran dies, there are two things again. If that death was service related, for example, we have Vietnam veterans, if they die of prostate cancer, which is a service connected condition, that widow will get about $1,300 a month for the rest of their unmarried life and their health care benefits. But for those who are married to veterans who are wartime and not service connected, the same principle apply. If their income is low, then there's monies that the VA can provide to assist that widow or widower or children under 18. In honor of that veteran, it's all about being a grateful nation and seeing how we can take care of the veteran and in their demise, the family members of those veterans.
Now what about the healthcare system? I mean, because we actually have a VA hospital here in Durham. So do we have an idea of how many are involved with healthcare as veterans, or do we know what do they actually get, and do the families get to attend the VA?
Yeah, rare occasions where a civilian would find themselves getting services at a VA medical center or healthcare system. They've kind of rebranded as the VA healthcare system now in Durham. And it used to be, Deborah, there was a time when any veteran could go to the VA, and to some degree that's still the case in terms of the emergency room, but there are criteria: 2 years on active duty, 24 months. So sometimes our National Guard and our reserve veterans have a hard time getting enrolled. But once they're there, the full array of services, some services, because if you're service connected, meaning that disability, say it's hearing, is related to your service, that's no cost to that veteran for the rest of his or her life. But then they have primary care providers, so they provide everything for that veteran. It's based on income in some instances, so there may be a co-pay, but it's still a very nominal cost compared to the private sector. So it is full service once you are enrolled, and some veterans every year they have to re-enroll to receive those benefits. And it's a great service, but again, underutilized. I mean, there are a lot of veterans that are accessing it, but the VA is always trying to recruit other veterans to take advantage of those programs.
So is it possible that that some of our veterans may not know the full extent of what they're eligible for?
Absolutely. Again, which is why we want to get on wheels. If they won't come to us, build it, they'll come. We have a wonderful facility at the Human Service Building, but we do want to go out in our outreach to let veterans know, because that's misinformation out there about what it means to get enrolled. The quality of care is certainly improving, and the wait, I'm enrolled myself, and it's great service that you get when you go out to that.
Right, right. So does the VA provide life insurance?
The VA, and that's something that many veterans aren't aware of. I get invariably someone's going to come in. So when I got in the military, in the military they have serviceman group life insurance. $500,000. It was less when I was in. But you have 90 days, 6 months. There's a transition period. You transition to the veterans group life insurance, and many don't do that. And so the next opportunity is for a veteran who becomes what we call service disabled, and they have what they call the service disabled life insurance policy. It's up to $10,000. It is for veterans who can't get life insurance because of their service-connected condition. So the VA will underwrite that up to the tune of $10,000. If a veteran is 100% service-connected, that veteran, as well as some veterans who are unemployed, can ask that the premiums be waived for that $10,000 policy. 100% veterans can apply then for $30,000 policy. Yeah. So it's there, but again, it's underutilized. Veterans they're not reading the material when they get approved, or it's just not publicized, but it's there. It's a great program.
So if a veteran just kind of comes into your office, what's sort of the first step?
Come into our office. Hopefully they'll see a wonderful smile and a nice lobby area that just being in our lobby is enriching. We have resources within our lobby that helps veterans, whether they're looking for a job, homeless veterans that are coming in, information that could assist them with getting access to either not become homeless or to get out of homelessness. But they do have to meet with a veteran service officer in most cases. There are 3 of us. Our director is certified, and she does see veterans, but Jonathan Crooms and myself primarily assist those veterans from A to Z with whatever it is that they need. Getting the DD-214, their discharge papers showing what their character of discharge is, getting an upgrade. And that's another misinformation. Veterans think that within the first year getting out, if they got a less than honorable discharge, it's automatically upgraded to the next level. It's not true. They have 15 years to apply for an upgrade, and then they have to justify why they believe that it should be other than this.
Now, one of the things you mentioned was homelessness. What do we know about our homeless veterans in Durham?
We know a lot. In fact, to some degree, the numbers are diminishing. They're going down, and what we're doing, it's absolutely good. At one point in time, Durham had ended homelessness based on whether or not a veteran was homeless for more than 90 days. And that's what we still do. We have a list in Durham, the Mayor's Committee to End Veteran Homelessness. So a couple of times a month we meet, and those that we know, we work that list, try to case manage to see how we could assist that veteran from getting out of homelessness to getting into permanent housing. In Durham, we have Maple Court. We have a place where veterans can get temporary or transitional housing, as well as some other places. Jonathan Crooms does a lot in working with those individuals that are trying to get out of homelessness.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we're about out of time. I wanted you to mention one more time the event that you have coming up.
Yes, on March 13th, it's actually Friday the 13th, but don't let that deter you. March 13th at 10 o'clock, we're having a claims clinic for veterans that live in Durham. It's going to open up with some information sharing. We're also going to do the census part. We want to make sure veterans are being counted as well, so we're going to have literature there for those veterans that come in. But it does start at 10. It's not 10 till. It starts at 10 with like a group orientation where we want to sit down and see how we can help those veterans. And we want to do more events like that to invite veterans into our office, but also to go out into the community.
Wonderful. Absolutely. So we're about out of time. Tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Okay, we're at 414 East Main Street here in the Human Service Building on the second floor. Our office hours are 8:30 till noon, 1:30 till 5, and that we don't go to lunch for an hour and a half. It's just that if we have someone in past 12, it gives us that time to go. Our phone number is easy to remember. It's 919-560-VETS, VETS, which is 8387. Leave a message. We get back with veterans the same day or definitely by the next day.
Well, again, we'd like to thank you all so much for what you do, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
appreciate it.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us, and please continue to stay in touch, and we will provide shows that help improve the quality of life for our Durham County residents. Please join us for the next edition of In Touch with Durham County. Cheers.